Hey, what's up, everyone? This is David Greenspan, and you are listening to Season 3 of the Mindshare Podcast, a proud member of the Industry Syndicate Media Network. Additional podcasts are available at mindshare101.com and on all the major podcast platforms. This week's episode is sponsored by Equity Prime Mortgage and Kit's Keep in Touch Systems. Equity Prime Mortgage, also known as EPM, is a great mortgage lender based out of Atlanta, Georgia, where their mission is simply empowering people more. And in fact, we at Mindshare 101 have just signed an exclusive partnership with EPM to offer Mindshare X on behalf of their group for the entire real estate industry across the United States of America. And my good friend Jason Frazier is at the helm, helping the entire EPM crew build a whole lot of Mindshare. So make sure you follow them on Instagram at EPM Plus. And now, when was the last time that you checked out the Kit's cross-channel marketing suite? This is your full-on marketing toolset, starting with Loop CRM to help keep you organized, the most personalized and effective direct mail newsletters delivering response rates of over 35%, email newsletters, websites, social media content, our super easy 3-click landing pages, complete with automated action plans, and so much more to help you manage your business, generate more leads and more referrals, and build that mindshare to drive even more sales. You can learn more on my site, mindshare101.com, by clicking on Marketing. And as you know, of course you know, we are on a push 100 reviews on iTunes, and so I'd like to ask you, if you haven't yet, please take 2 minutes to rate the show, leave a review, and we've had an extra incentive for you. For everyone who leaves a review, you are being entered into a draw to win 1 year of free group coaching valued at over $500. It's really, really that easy, and let me say thank you in advance. Today's episode is number 153. He is a strategist, national speaker, an award-winning marketer with more than 20 years of C-level experience. He currently serves as the Chief Strategy Officer and Executive Vice President of Marketing for EPM. Along with his full-time responsibilities at EPM, he is also a marketing coach for next-level loan officers, podcast producer and host, serves as an advisor to PitchHub and LenderPrice, along with serving on the board of governors for NAHREP. Featured on Yahoo and USA Today, he is a highly sought-after public speaker with notable appearances at conferences such as Gary Vaynerchuk's Agent 2021, Inman Connect, Housing Wire Engage, Mortgage Mastermind, NAMB National, CAR Reimagine, AIM Fuse, CMLA, and UAMP's Mortgage Expo. This week on the show, I am joined by Chief Strategy Officer and EVP of Marketing for EPM, Mr. Jason Frazier. Jason, welcome back once again to the Mindshare Podcast.
What's up, brother? Thank you for that awesome intro, and I think we could just we end the podcast right there.
Oh man, it's always good to have you back on the show, man. Seriously,
it is good, crazy. Man. You know, we talk about it all the time, but it's just so crazy how we met, and then just like over the years and all the the conversation. And I'll tell you this: like the best thing about it's the podcast, and everyone that's on live or listening to this on replay. This is one of the best things about the industry, right? Is connecting. You and I didn't know each other before we went, to Jeff's Deliver conference, and then just from there, just finding alignment. And both of us have been able to have like great experiences together at Inman Connect, speaking on stage. I had you speak at my sales conference. We work on Mindshare X now. This is the best thing about our industry is the connections that you make, the relationships you have, and I'm just proud to know you, brother. And our friendship is great to me.
Hi, dude, you know what, man? I know we do talk about that a lot, and it's it takes me back to that event that we had done together back in Arizona, if you remember that one, with a few of some other colleagues that we got. And we had sort of, everybody had come together. I remember being on stage and talking about, where we had kind of wrapped up, and I was going to at the end. And I remember, looking at it going like, we, and even just you and I, we don't get to hang out in person together very often at all. Mm-hmm. But the relationship that's formed is so genuine, so real, so authentic that it's like when you get together in person, it's not like you're like, hey man, let's catch up. How are things? It's like you just hang because you know how things are because we keep in touch on a regular basis. And for everybody tuned in, like this isn't about just Jason and I. I think the point that we're even more so trying to make here is that, there are powerful connections that can be made when you leverage them the right way. And in this case too, though, I mean, we always talk about like brother from another mother kind of thing.
Yeah,
like it's so true, right? Like we sit down and we could just, yap and yap and yap for hours. Now, looking at that and, going on the fact that we are going to operate on some sort of time limit in some regard today, to give people some value. But I wanted to sort of get into that and go, as to the fact that I know who you are and what you're up to. Tell us more, just, sort of maybe on a brief level too, like who's Jason Frazier? What are you doing at EPM? And and beyond. And I know I just labeled off a ton of stuff from the podcast. And dude, or from your bio. You're killing it out there, bro. I love watching the evolution and the mastery of Jason Frazier.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that, dude. And same with you, man. Just like from, again, going back to that, where we started and where we're at today, it's great watching your growth as well. It's wild. But, so for me, for those, that, I won't go into a big thing, but, what are we not doing in EPM, right? We're, really, I think, with EPM, I've been there a little bit over a year. It's definitely a different environment, a different culture, which is what I've wanted for years in this industry, a culture of change, right? A culture of empowerment, doing things different, which is what I'm all about. So, for me, we've announced it. We're opening the Reg next week. We'll announce some of the speakers. We got EPMX, which is really, in my opinion, the first ever housing industry event that really truly merges real estate and mortgage all under one roof, with a cohesive theme, content, speakers, and the speakers are next level. Everything's just going to be awesome. So that's happening in January. So doing a lot of events. We're going beyond. It's empowering people more, right? It's going beyond just being, look, I could join any lender, right? Or, anybody could join any mortgage company and be a profitable another lender, right? It's not what we're trying to do. It's not what I'm about. I'm about making an impact, leaving a legacy, right? Like if you're looking at what my purpose is on this planet, it's that. So leave a legacy. It's leave a legacy and make an impact for people to help people. And so that's what we're doing at EPM, whether that's events, whether that's, what we're doing, the partnership with MindShareX to help, our broker partners, our loan officers, help agents. I just spoke at an event yesterday, talking with agents about marketing and stuff like that. So like, that's what it is. That's what I do. Obviously my day job, I have my 24/7 job, which is what I do is roll 24/7 is marketing and strategy at EPM. Right. So that's growth, it's business development. That's obviously marketing is a huge role, but ultimate strategy. But it's about what can we do for the industry, right? How can we level up? It's things that I'm doing with Next Level, right? Next Level is a great coaching group, and through that, and this is where really having that difference between a scarcity mindset and abundance mindset is that a majority of what I do, right, as far as call it thought leadership and coaching and all that other stuff, it helps people that are technically my competitors, right? Which is fine because I want those people to win, right? Because I know those people that actually align with the way that you think and I think about the next decade of this industry, those are going to be the winners, which even though they don't know it, but collectively we have a common enemy or disruptor, so to speak. And that's, the people that don't really care about the consumer, right? They just care about like, how do I make this cheap and fast and then just package it out, right? As we know, this industry is not easy. There's a lot of things that could happen. And, once people are taking on, the home ownership journey. And so you need to have advisors, you need to have professionals, you have the people that really do that. So to me, I love this. I say it all the time. There's never been a better time to be in this industry, to be a practitioner. But really, it's about that. And then getting the hacks off the stage, right? They've had their time. This is a new decade. They got to be in the trenches. They got to be a practitioner. They got to be doing it, right? Not just talking about it because they went to a freaking conference or read a book and then they have some ideas, right? No, like we're talking about people that are doing this every single day. That's why I got back into being in the trenches with my, my colleagues and fellow originators and real estate agents so that we could do right by the industry and start and get the rest of the crap off stage. And it's time for a new world order, my friend.
You know what, dude? Listen, empowering people more. I absolutely love it. I think it falls totally in line with obviously a very, very much the way we think, right? And I mean, that's what we've been doing now for the past, I don't know, however many years we've been going to these conferences, like disrupting. And sitting there going, no, wait a second. Give me some more logic to that. Or why does that work? And you're absolutely right. There's so much of that. And we've watched, and I want to get into that with you in a few seconds here, but we've watched that bell curve where we used to be going to certain conferences together and we sit there looking at like, what did they just say? Are you serious? And now we've watched that bell curve with a bright, shiny object. Everybody's like, yeah, I got to do it. Then it started at the tabletop and it was like, I don't know. And now it's like, boom, it's doing one of these on certain levels. And we'll get into some depths of that today. Because I think that's important as we're walking into 2022 to look and say, what should I be paying attention to grow my business? And the beautiful thing is where we've watched the technology. We watched that bell curve happen. We're coming back onto the other side of it, where we're really just coming back to the same fundamentals that a lot of us knew from before that stuff happened. Everybody just had to get it out of their system, right? So as we look ahead, and I know you said like the next decade, I'm going to shorten that time frame to like the next 3 to 6 months for a second here. What are we thinking is going to happen with this market of ours? And I'm not looking to be an economist here, but more about the industry as a whole. Do we see some like drastic changes happening from kind of the environment we're in right now? Or are we looking at kind of status quo? And I'll tell you, north of the border, we're looking status quo, and we're looking at that because there's just not enough inventory. We don't have enough shovels going in the ground. And the reality is there's not much you can do about it. Yeah. So there's no short-term fix to it, right? What are you guys seeing there? What's that sort of outlook?
Yeah, it's a great question, right? So obviously inventory, supply and demand is continuing to be, is going to be a thing. And obviously, with the, I don't know about up where you guys are, but the supply chain issues that we have here in the States is, bleeds into a lot of different things, right? Whether it's materials, construction, employment, stuff like that. There's just a lot of different things that are going on. And options and opportunities. And that's another thing, is someone that was maybe doing something that was in the supply chain realm, but had an opportunity because everyone's hiring right now and everyone's paying well, right? Because, the shortage of workers, that there's a lot of opportunities that weren't there before. So it's causing a disruption, but I think any disruption means opportunity, right? For those that are looking at the landscape and are going deep and are not just looking at the headlines and not just looking at the McNuggets, right? They're actually looking at some tried and true data of things. So as far as housing goes, look, we're looking at, rates, in the 4, going up to 4% at some point, maybe at the end of this year, maybe
so we see them going up.
Q1. Rates will be going up for sure. But here's the thing, guys, like, and I just posted about this on, on LinkedIn the other day, is that guess what? When rates were 8%, houses were being bought, right? When they were 10%, 11%, 16%, right? Deals will always get done, right? The question is, who's going to be doing those deals, right? As long as there's a demand and a need for housing, there will be people there that can service that business. And so don't worry about the rates are. And honestly, I'm excited for rates to go up right now. And look, yes. And when I say that I'm excited for rates going up is what it does is it tightens the market for the people that are truly the professionals and the people that are not, right? Yeah. Everyone's all of a sudden, like, 2020 happened, the unicorn event, where the greatest market of all the time, all of a sudden everyone's a freaking top producer, right? All of a sudden everyone knows everything. Everyone knows that. Then you look at their business and they were like 95% refi. Like, how could you not do refis in 2020, right? You know what I mean? Like, so like if you're doing a ton of business, that's, so it cuts down on the refi. It focuses on the purchase market, which is really where the bones are made in this industry. And there's a lot of crap that happens when there are low rates. So I'm excited for rates to go up just because it levels it. To me, it's the equalizer, right? It separates the players from the part-time.
As I said, there's no solution in sight. The only solution I can see to at least what we've got going on up here is to raise the rates. And I know a lot of people just went, "Oh, you can't do that." Yeah. Look, if we're looking to do something to affect this market and stop these prices from like skyrocketing, you got to do something to take some of the people out of the market that simply really can't afford the dollars, but for some reason they're being able to get it because the rates are so low. And we know that by raising the rates, we're going to end up getting a lot of people who are like, "Oh my God, I can't afford it. I got to get rid of this stuff." Hey, maybe that's the solution. I get it. Again, it's not the most economical, positive solution, but it might be the only thing to kind of curb it. Again, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. Now, you just said something else here about, separating the people. What's our take on, and I've never seen another industry do this, except for the real estate industry. And I don't know if they're doing it south of the border as much, but I know up here it's like it's an issue in of its own, where people like to publicize how much money they've made. So how much over asking they sold for, how much commission they made, what their GCI is, what they, publicly, like, I just hit this goal of making X amount of dollars. Do they do that down there?
Yeah. And look, you know me, I'm pretty, I'm a candid guy, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why we get along.
and here's the thing. I think it's stupid to do stuff like that. Right.
Yeah,
it's, celebrate your wins. Absolutely. Right. Successes. However, just understand the environment that you're in. Right. And also understand the public perception is, and make no mistakes about it. And also I'll say this, everything that I say, right, it comes from love, right? Yeah, I love this industry. I love the true professionals that make this one of the greatest industries out there, right? I love it. I love everything about it. It's a family business for me. So I just want to get out of the way. It's just everything I'm saying has nothing to do with me hating on anything or anything. I just want to be real about it. But here's the public reception, and make no mistake about it. You make too much as an agent, right? You make too much as a loan officer. Right now, privately, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's the perception, right? And look, and I'm in enough groups and private conversations to know that I hear agents and loan officers saying we're making a stupid amount of money, and they hate when they see those posts because one is it makes people think that it's all about the agent. When you're putting out about you, it's all about you. Oh, I just did this, and then now putting something that you now in our market, if someone puts a post saying, "Hey, I just sold this over list price," you didn't have to do shit in order to do that, right? Because you had 15, offers before the house went even on the market, no contingencies, nothing, just because of supply and demand, right? So to me, it's like it's like beating your chest because the sun came up and that was because of you, right? And it's not like that's just what's going to happen in general. Celebrate your wins, but maybe do it in a smarter way. Celebrate your win because you helped the family. Celebrate your win because you got them more money. Right? Don't talk about commission. Are you kidding me? Right? You got the lawsuit with NAHREP. Do not talk about commission. That is just crazy because you're already just feeding into a negative public perception. And you could go on Google and type in, and I did this yesterday with the agents that I was talking to. I said, do this right now. Go into Google and say, why are agents or why are realtors so, and let Google fill out the rest for you. None of those things are going to be positive. Do it right now if you're listening, right? If you're listening to this podcast, pause it. Do this right now on Google. If you're listening, watching live, replay or whatever, do it right now and see what pops up, right? Why are real estate agents so, or why are realtors so, and see what Google pops up, right? If you're doing it right now, David, tell me what's going on. Tell me some of those answers. Right?
Oh man. So here's the top ones. Okay. Top 5. Why are real estate agents so dumb? Why are real estate agents so rude? Why are real estate agents so rich? Why are real estate agents so pushy? And why are real estate agents so lazy? Those are the first 5 things. And I just said, why are real estate agents so?
And here's what I'm going to tell you guys, right? I do this not just to people are like, oh, well, I feel empowered now. Look, you can't have empowerment without truth, right? You can't have empowerment without reality. Right. And so here's the thing, and it's not just a dig on agents. Look, the mortgage industry just has such a bad perception as well, too. Right. And so the reason I do that is so that you understand that this isn't something I made up. This is something Google does this because that's what people are putting in there.
That's what they're searching.
Right. So that's what they're searching for. Right. Because and you guys have a lot of competition. Right. From I'm speaking to agents. Right. You have a lot of competition out there. You have people that are going to figure out how to create a great experience at a cheaper price. Commissions will get hurt. The discount, if you want to call them discount brokerages, all of that, all those services, iBuyers, all of that stuff is competition, right? It is your time now to show why you're worth what you're worth. Now's the time to show what the value is, what you do, not the cost, but the value of what you do as a professional. And so that's why when I told them to do that, and they were just kind of laughing and they're like, oh, wow, that's, I'm like, look, you need to understand that because that's what you're going in. So every time that you're putting content out there about how much money you are making about this or that, especially in a time where where everyone understands that it is not hard to sell a house right now. It is not. I sold my house a while ago when I moved out to Atlanta. I had it sold before it even went on the market. Yeah. Right, multiple offers. My mom, who just moved out here, didn't take long for her to say, you know what I mean? This is it's not hard to do right now. Right. So putting that out there, it just leads to it leads to a bad perception. What I would do is focus on those things in ways of how you're helping people, right? Tell the stories of what you're doing to make someone else's life better. Cause that's going to stand out. right? That's what's going to be meaningful to someone and the people that you're trying to bring into your business, right? Be someone that's helping people, empowering people, right? Yes, we're all making a lot of money, right? And that's great. And that shouldn't be a secret either, right? But just say the reasons why we're doing that. Why? Because try to navigate this minefield on your own without a true professional, right? And this is a podcast that's coming out next week that I'll be talking about for me. And that's about because I'll tell you, right, with the agent experience I've had over the last couple months with my mom and stuff like that, you all got to do better, right? Like you all, you got to earn that commission because some people are just phoning it in on a lot of different things. And I'm telling you, that's kind of why I want the market to be a little harder, not for the consumer, but for the people that's out there, so that the professionals rise to the top.
Guaranteed, dude. It's got to be weeded out. We got way too many people in this business that are purely transactional. They are not there thinking about how they can help other people. And again, this is the epitome word, these 4 letters, HELP. This is what it's all about. It's not about the money. You want to make more money, go help more people. You want to make more money, go help even more people. You figure out how to help enough people in a day. At some point, people are going to turn around and try to help you. But if you're sitting there going, look at me, how much money I made, people are going to look and go, nah, I'm not really there. And when you think about the fact that it's the biggest asset of somebody's entire life, it's important to understand your job is there to help them, not to go and say, look how much money I'm going to make. Now, I want to talk marketing here. And I got like a whole slew of stuff that I want to sort of ask you about and get your opinion on and have you share it with other people. But
absolutely.
It's been like 21 months since we've fallen into this dark hole that we're in, and we're trying to all get out of it. And no, wait a second. It's only Canada that's not out of it yet. Yeah, for some reason. But anyways, I digress on that one. But here's the deal though, right? Video. Video is one of these things that we and many of our colleagues and many others have been touting for a number of years now. And then we got to this thing of like going into voice. What the past 21 months has told us is that video is of like the utmost importance, right? Everybody's doing Zoom calls. Everybody's finding ways to communicate with clients and do virtual tours with the clients, pre-inspections, just meetings with each other. I mean, marketing through video, but there's still a massive reluctance for people to get on board. What's your sort of maybe quick advice to anybody who's thinking like, I don't know if I should be doing it. I didn't do my hair. I didn't do my makeup. Blah, blah, blah. Why should people be getting onto video right now? Like, why do they just have to simply do it?
It's funny. So I'm fortunate enough to be, and I'll give a shout out here to Ginger Bell, Carl White, Scott Shang, great people in the industry. We have this mortgage video mastermind actually starts in like a few minutes here. Nice. That we do once a week on Wednesdays. And so it's all about video, right? It's all about video and why. And here's the thing, like, and I had this exact conversation yesterday, right? So I'll say what I said yesterday. COVID has taught us that we're not ready to be absent from each other's lives, right? We're not ready to use technology to replace a lot of the communication that we have, right? And actually, let me rephrase that. The communication doesn't mean conversations, right? You can communicate in a lot of different ways. Doesn't mean you're having conversations. Mm-hmm. And so, and a shout out to Kevin Delory who gave me that phrase. And so, I like it though. Yep. And so, what COVID has taught us is that we're not ready for that, right? And we still need that human interaction. We still need the face-to-face. In fact, more people want to do Zoom now because they haven't interacted. They're not going out to places. They're not going out to they haven't been doing the normal stuff where they're having that human interaction. So they want to see people's faces, right? And also because some places, thankfully not where I'm at, but other places, other states, it's masks inside, masks outside, masks, a double mask, whatever, like all that other stuff. So they're not seeing the emotions and stuff like that. So like, honestly, like probably being sarcastic right now is probably the worst thing you could be. And which is unfortunate for me because like if I have a mask on, you can't tell if I'm serious or not. Right. And so like, it's that human interaction, it's that communication. And so that's why video is important now because people need to see it. And I'll tell you one thing, and I've talked about this with social media before, right? Is that guess what? The war has been fought and video won, right? Just like the war has been fought and social media won. I do not care whether you like it or not, right? I don't like it. Right. I'm not a big fan of social media. Right. It's there because it's attention.
Double down on that.
It's good business.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm in love with it. It can go away tomorrow. As long as there's something else to tap into, I'm excited. Right. I'm fine. But here's the thing. It's been the war's been won. Video won. Get over it. right? If you still need to be convinced to be on video, I don't know what else I could tell you to do. And sometimes it's the messenger, right? Sometimes it's not me, and sometimes there's something will happen. Maybe it's someone else at a local, agent event. Maybe it's a conference. Maybe it's just a freaking conversation over coffee. At some point, the messenger may make the difference to where you see, oh, video needs to do that. But here's the thing. If you go out in public, right? And maybe this was pre-COVID, right? But depending on where you're at, right? If you're in Georgia, you understand what I'm talking about, or pretty much anywhere in the South. But like, if you go out in public and you interact with people, that's how you look, right?
That's how you what I'm saying to people. Right? You look the same on camera.
Like. There's no magical filter over it, right? But like video, because they have the little window and they see themselves. Oh my God, I don't like the way my voice sounds. When I hear my podcast or something like that, I'm like, geez, why didn't anyone tell me I sound like that? Right? Or I look like that. But you just at some point, and look, I was one of those people that didn't want to be on video either, right? I always make that joke. I actually, did this, I was speaking at an event here in Atlanta a few weeks ago, where I was on stage, and I'm like, and the same topic came up. I said, look, you got to be aware of who you are and what you look like, right? And I said, look, Magic Mike is not casting me in their next movie, right? Like I got to be comfortable with who I am, how I look, my weight, my face, everything, right? Like you got to be comfortable with that, because look, that's just going to hold you back from the success that's out there and the opportunity that you can have. Not to say that you can't be successful without video, but the more that you stay off of it, the harder and harder it's going to be, because it's a thing now. It was a thing last year. It was a thing the year before, right? Each time that you stop yourself from realizing an opportunity, that one day that you decide you don't want to do it, that sets you back 6 months. 2 days, that's a year. 3, you're just continually setting yourself back long term, because it takes time to ramp up and get known, right? It does, as long as the content is good, as long as people could identify with you, and people identify with imperfection. So it doesn't matter. I could put this camera with like a nice background, some books and some cool shit, but this is real. This is what when I work from home, this is behind me. So like, why put on pretenses, right? Be real, be authentic, because that's who they're going to meet in real life when you're actually meeting face to face with people. It's time now. Be on video. It's not that hard. You got a freaking mini, video 24/7 on demand video editor, recorder, production studio in your hand right now. Take use of it, right? Utilize what you have. It's never been easier to do this, and never been more important to do it today.
Great advice on that. I couldn't agree with you more. You look the way you sound. You are who you are, whether it's on camera, it's not on camera. You got to get out there and do it. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself back. So as we look at that then, and talking about the emphasis on video, to tie into the part of the social media aspect, which I'm absolutely with you. I'm exhausted by it all already. But it is a means of business. It is a way to get out there. It is a way to leverage video. It is a way to connect with more people. It does amplify your message. Now, to that, Instagram recently came out and announced that they were moving away from being a photo sharing app, and they're going to be focused more on video. And we know that through Instagram TV and through Reels and through stories, you can video the hell out of Instagram. They just recently, actually, which I just learned the other day as I was going to do something on IGTV, IGTV doesn't exist anymore. It is strictly Instagram video. So now everything's kind of lumped into that, because Instagram's really trying to battle TikTok. Now, we haven't seen Instagram and or Facebook or LinkedIn or anybody for that matter go and spend all sorts of money advertising. TikTok, on the other hand, was the main sponsor for the Euro Cup. Me, as a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan, it's now on the side of the helmet as the advertising. It says TikTok. So they're spending a ton of money to try to take over the social media landscape. And quite frankly, it seems like they're starting to kick some ass out there. What's your take on TikTok? Should people be using it? Should our industry be embracing it? Aside from funny dancing videos, what else could people do with it? What's your take over there?
Yeah. So one is there's no arguing that TikTok has a ton of attention, right? Yeah. And there's a lot of potential there, but people need to be very careful about the platform. Right. This is something like, you and I have talked about this, is that where you post one piece of content and then throw it out to all these other networks. But like, hey, something on Instagram isn't going to play well on LinkedIn, and vice versa, because the audience is different. The intent on why they go to that platform is different. When I go to TikTok, me personally, and most of the people that I've talked to about it. So not to say that like this is the only reason why people go to it.
Yep.
But I go to it, and it's a rabbit hole for me. I'll go down there. I just go to there to be entertained. All my feed that I see is just funny shit, right? Like just, jokes or funny, scaring comedian sound bites. I don't go there to educate myself. I don't go there to learn something new, even though in my feed sometimes someone will show something like a cool like paleo recipe or something like that that's just interesting to me. And I don't know. I'm like one of those people that like to see like how food, like people doing like the food stuff. I don't know. It just is interesting to me, right? But so I see people trying to do like mortgage content or real estate content that isn't true to the intent of what the platform is. Right now, I've seen some other people do some funny things, some good stuff, and you got to mix up the content. You got to get a following first. If all you're doing is mortgage content, right? It may be hard, not impossible, but it may be a little bit more difficult to get a following. You got to mix in some trends, some stuff. So you really got to be a student of the platform. You just can't say, oh, I just did this great listing video and I'm gonna throw it on TikTok. You're right. Could you possibly get a lead or some stuff from that? Sure. Right. In fact, I know people have, right. But the people that I've seen have the most success with TikTok is because they're actually going into like the stuff that's trending, having fun, doing something that's funny, having a conversation, but not making like an overly produced, or production out of something simple. Is that what most people don't go to TikTok for, right? Make it entertaining, educate them, but doing it in an entertaining way. Right. Just like, just like you would, like if you're on LinkedIn, you're probably not doing funny stuff. You're probably doing a little bit more business professional stuff like that. Networking, Facebook's, mixed bag. Right. And then Instagram, just showing everyone how awesome your life is. Right. So like, it just really depends on like what the platform is known for, what people go to there to consume. And TikTok is definitely something to do. But I will say this though, just like with Snapchat and Snapchat's still around. That's Snapchat was one of the biggest networks when I got into social media, really got into it to building my personal brand, and is really how I built a lot of my supporter. I won't say following, but a lot of supporters, people that I connected with, relationships and stuff like that, was off of Snapchat. Now, Snapchat to me is no one really is there anymore. No one talks about it, as much. Not to say they don't have an audience or whatever. They kind of missed their boat with what they could have done with it. But that's the thing, is just be careful, right? Now, I always diverse, right? So use Instagram, use Facebook, use LinkedIn, use TikTok, and go as much, right? It's why it's trending, why there's a ton of attention, go all in on it. But just know that it could be a flash in the pan, like Snapchat kind of was, right? It could be something that isn't a mainstay, right? Now, I think TikTok isn't going to go the way that Snapchat did. I think there's a lot there. And so I would look at people that are using it. It's an investment. Some of the people that I know that are doing well with it and actually getting a good amount of production from it. They also hired someone to help them with TikTok and do the videos and things of that nature, do the editing. Because it is a science, right? Like I just use TikTok to consume. I don't produce any content.
Dude, producing is not easy on it. It's very time consuming to produce. And I'll tell you, exactly what you're saying. The reason I really started with TikTok, I started back at the top of COVID and just signed up for the app. And I'm like, I looked through it for a bit. I'm like, nah, not for me. Like, I'm not doing this. And I would make fun of Jen because I'm like, are you TikToking? Right. And you know what I mean? She's just scrolling through. But then it got to this point where like, okay, heard about Reels on Instagram. And they said that if you're doing 4 Reels every 7 days, that your following should grow exponentially. And so us just being marketers and strategists, we're like, well, let's put this thing to the test and let's just try messing around with this thing. And I was just blown away by how difficult it was to actually edit a video. And it's not that it's difficult, but it's time consuming.
Yes.
Right. It was the whole time consuming aspect of it. And okay, fine. So we're going to start doing this. But then I realized how much time it takes. I'm like, how do you fit this in on a regular basis into your day? And then you got to be creative with what you're doing. And I'm looking at a lot of the dancing things and all these other things. And you're like, it ain't me. I'm not going to do this stuff. So what can I do? And you try to find your groove on it. But I will say to what you just said as well, from a business perspective, we put out some content. I think there's some valuable stuff on there. But is that the type of stuff that people are really consuming on TikTok or Reels? No. They're looking for the funny stuff. They're looking for the viral stuff. They're looking for whatever.
Hey, you could get like maybe an intern or some other stuff to help out. But, I said one of the biggest things, objections as a like a mortgage or real estate professional is like, hey, this isn't what I do. This isn't this isn't that. But you're missing out on opportunities. So sometimes you got to figure out, do I invest in that? And that's where, and I know this is a segue with, and it's probably not where you were going, but just as we're talking about, it brings it to my head, is just like with marketing, you have to change your mindset from cost to investment, right? And then understand that it's the long game, right? If I'm investing in something like stocks or whatever, I'm not I invested last night. Where's my 10, 20% return tomorrow or the next day or whatever? It's a long game, right? And so you need to change your mindset to investment as opposed to cost, and realize if I want to do well on our TikTok, and you may be good at doing the production on your phone and stuff, and so it isn't time consuming. And I'll tell you, because I've seen some people that are like good at doing TikTok, like I'm a technologist, but they're like they're doing that stuff in like 15 minutes, right? Me, I'm like, holy crap, this is going to take me a little time to do.
There's the thing, time invested, right? And everything else. Absolutely, man. So let me ask you this then, where I was going to go with that too was, there's that aspect of the TikTok, which really is that thing of, let's just say, comparable to Reels on Instagram. How much weight are we holding on Instagram? And just briefly on the sort of idea of hashtags. It used to be like 30 hashtags and something was like 22 hashtags. And now Instagram's like 5 to 8 hashtags, but don't put them in the post, put them in the comment. Oh my God. How about just use hashtags and don't worry about it? Like, quick thoughts on that and sort of maybe the overall of Instagram.
So, and you know this, I can't stand Instagram. I hate Instagram. It's my least favorite channel for a lot of different reasons, mostly because a lot of it's just fake bullshit. That's why I don't like it. Now, with that being said, you can do Instagram and get customers from that, get leads, get clients, and so there's a lot of attention. So I will never tell someone not to use it. Yep. I'm just saying, me personally.
You just don't like it.
I hate it. I don't like it. And a lot of what you just said is the exact reason. They screw with the algorithm because, and look, we're seeing this stuff come out with the whistleblowers and things of that nature. If you don't think that Facebook and Instagram actually categorize different things because it is attention grabbing and it is headlines and it's going to be shitty stuff, they do that, obviously. Right. And so like with the hashtags and the posts, it's like, I love the old days of social media when you just post when you wanted to post.
Thank you.
And I've done this before where I would just put like, oh, you need to use 18 hashtags. You need to move them here. You need to put an emoji right in between the hashtag. You need to freaking stand on one foot, make sure that you have your hand up in the air. And that's how you get like a ton of likes. Right. And that's just bullshit to me. It's like, look, I could care less. If I get 5 likes, I don't care. I know people see it, because I'll get comments on certain things.
Yeah.
If you look at my last post on Instagram is probably, I don't know, like 2 months ago, maybe, or whatever. I will do stories mostly as I'm doing things, just real quick posts. But to me, I've done from back in the day, I used to like try to mess around with the hashtags and stuff, really just to see, just as a practitioner.
Just to see exactly.
But I'll tell you one thing. I posted things without any hashtags and got just the same amount of freaking likes that I do with hashtags.
That's exactly my point on it.
Know,
yes.
But this is why people don't want to do it and don't use Instagram and stuff like that, is because like, hey, let's just let the content speak for itself, right? If someone interacts with it, if someone likes it, then good. And that's at the time I want to go. I don't do any engagement on Instagram unless I get tagged in someone or someone sends me a message. Every time I see an alert on Instagram, I'm like, oh God, I got to go to Instagram and look at what that was. And usually it's like a tag in a story, which is cool. Very thankful for that. Or a comment, someone tags me in a post, so I comment and reply on the post. But I don't go through and engage on Instagram. Most of the stuff I see in my feed is crap. I don't care about any of that shit. Like I don't care about, living your best life or whatever, right? I want real stuff, right? So that's why I like not that Facebook's real, but like, honestly, I spend most of my time engaging and doing stuff on LinkedIn because it meets more of what I like to do, right? And I know I'll connect with my audience that I want to connect with. Same with on Facebook, right? I spend most of my time in groups actually, as opposed to just, stuff on the feed. But I'm tired of playing the algorithm game, right? And it's not just me. I know a lot of people and outside of my wife deals with it as an author, just playing like the Instagram out, and the shadow bans and all this other crap that they say don't happen, but they absolutely do. So they're important channels. Instagram's important. Use it, write it till the wheels fall off is what I will say with Instagram. I don't like playing the games. I think if you do content, you engage, which is the best thing you can do on any social media channel. It isn't about the time you post, the hashtags or anything else. It's about the amount of time you spend engaging with others. That's going to grow your following and going to put you top of mind as things like that. So that's where I would spend time on. Definitely post content, but engage is where you're really going to see the value.
I like that. And that's a very important point right there, is engage with people. That is where you'll see the value. So now as we talk about engaging with people, one of these other cop-outs we've seen over the past number of years in this industry is online lead generation. We know that our buddies over at Google have recently mentioned that in 2022, they're going to be going away with cookies. So they're not going to be dropping as many, which, leads me to believe that the whole idea, and we've seen reports of this, that the pixel from Facebook will also not be as relevant in terms of following people around. And this has to go privacy and everything else. So, question for you on that would be around, I guess, the idea around online advertising as we move into 2022. Are we still going to see it being, it's a hard question to ask, because are we still going to see it to be worthwhile? And I've heard from just way too many people that have tried it, gone through it, and been like, no, we hear it day in and day out that it's like, but people, it's almost like people just, they have to try it to see if they liked it. And you're like, but I'm telling you, before you spend the money on it, it's going to take a hell of a lot more money than you think it is to make this thing work. And the time and the effort that you, like you mentioned a moment ago, right, around TikTok, the investment you're making into it, it's exponential. What's your take here as we move through into 2022 around, the pixels and the cookies, but the overall of online advertising is going to have the same effect? Are we really seeing the downturn in this thing?
Let me put it this way. I don't think we're seeing a downturn, so to speak. What we'll see is a replacement. So one is Facebook has been decimated by what Apple has done with their app store and having apps not track, which is great. I do that every single time. Every time I open up an app, I say, do not track me. Right. Gotcha. And I'm a marketer. Yep. Right. Yep. And I do that because screw them. Right.
Well, we get what's going on in the background too. Right.
You know what I mean? I don't care. And I'm thinking as a consumer, right? And then Safari, right? Which is, and mail, right? So you have, did I open you don't have that anymore. Did you open my email on Apple Mail? You can't tell anymore, right? Safari, no tracking and stuff like that. Now you have all these notifications about we use cookies and blah, 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 blah. Great. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. But here's the thing. All of that those were great tools and resources to use. It just made your job really easy, right? Same with doing Facebook ads and having all this stuff. Now, and I love it as a marketer that I invest in myself, knowing that, hey, I don't care if I could track, not track, or whatever. I'm still going to be successful because I understand the game, right? So I love this. I love the disruption because I know the people that have really focused on that and that they've been using it as a crutch, as an easy way to get business. Now you're going to have to actually do real marketing, right? You're really going to have to go on there. And I'll say something that you did. This was probably a couple of years ago, an event where this was in one of your presentations. Where you put a difference between, and I use this all the time. And by the way, I steal your shit all the time, Dave. Right back at you, brother. I give you props.
Set it and forget it is set and forget you. And I quote you every time I say it.
No, I give you props though. But you said this one time is that it's crazy to spend money on the people spend more money on the people you don't know as opposed to the people that you know. Right. That goes back to the human interaction and whatnot. Yep. So this is why your database is important, right? Those are the people you already communicate. You have no gatekeepers, right? You have their information, you have their email, you have so many ways to communicate and connect with those people because you've already got them in. They're in your ecosystem. You got them. Double down on that. How many people can they introduce you to? How many people can I, be referred to from you because I'm awesome and I helped you out, gave you a great experience. And I've created an actual relationship there, right? That's going to make the database more important. You're actually going to have to really focus on the more people you do know, as opposed to the people you don't know, which is all online advertising, cold leads, cold calls, cold everything, cold audiences, because you don't know. They have no relationship. They've never seen you. They don't know even, if you're trustworthy or anything else, right? And this is another thing that I'll say is that the biggest problem with lead generation is that everyone thinks that they're like instant deals on a plate. Right? That, hey, I do leads. Hey, and then they also go hey, where's the best and cheap leads? Right? If you have posted that on a Facebook group or the best or cheap leads, then you have the wrong mindset, right? You should, one is you shouldn't care. Do the math. how much is a customer worth to you, right? Then what you should do is focus.
Cost, exactly.
Yeah, right. How much is that customer worth for you? Well, that's the cost, but how much is the worth to you, right? Then you take the acquisition, the cost, right? What is that? The CAC, right? So like you take the CAC, right? And then you go to what your actual, what it's worth to you. And then that's your number, right? And then you invest on like, what am I willing to spend to get to that, right? And so once you have that math down, then you know like what you're actually investing and spend, because you don't want leads, you want customers. So that's where your true cost is. But the problem is that you've invested no time in doing any of that research. You've invested zero time in any type of systems. They're like, oh, how can I get leads? Right? Great. Do you have any type of system to convert those leads? Do you have any type of system to communicate, to drip long term? Because these leads aren't ready to go today, right? They're ready to go probably in 3, 6, 9, 12 or longer. Do you have that cadence? Do you have the script? Do you have the conversion methods? Do you have the team to follow up? Are you going to follow up? Do you have systems to be able to do all that stuff, right? And then most of the people I talk to have none of that, right? They don't even know what I'm talking about. And now you want to go spend, I don't care if it's 10 or 20 bucks or 200 or 300. Everything that you're throwing out there, right, is money spent on leads that may or may not convert. And here's one step further, right? What do most of them do when there's a lead that isn't instant or isn't whatever? Do you think they put them in their database and have some sort of system and plan to follow up? No, they just throw them away. They're not ready, right? Guess what? If you're a lead buyer, you're going to buy that lead again and again and again. And you're like, oh, hey, Mr. Oh, yeah, really? I talked to you, a year and a half ago and you never responded back. So now you've probably spent a couple hundred on buying that same lead for nothing. So you're just throwing that money away. Could I have used that few hundred maybe to invest in something for my current database, for the people I have done business, to send cards, to send gifts, to send reminders, to invest in systems, to congratulate their kids on getting to college or whatever. No, you're just throwing it away, right? Because the mindset is so screwed up because our industry has created such a bad narrative about lead gen, and bad meaning like, oh, just spend money. And we have all these freaking industry lead generation people. Can you accept another 3 to 5 deals right now? Can you have another 7 to 5 clients? Can you service that business right now? All of these freaking hacks out there have just made this whole world just shitty when it comes to lead generation. And that's what I want people to look at. Look at the reality of lead. They're not deals on a plate. Have systems to convert them, but you've got to invest in the mindset of what am I willing to pay for customers, not leads.
I love that. Customers, not leads. That's one of the biggest issues. I said that a while back as well. We got to stop looking at them as leads. These are homeowners. This is the biggest asset of somebody's entire life. This is a husband, a wife, a father, a mother. These are family units. These are not leads. This is somebody's home. We've got to treat it that way. And you're bang on. Yeah. I love the fact that you brought that up. It is about the systems and the processes. It's about the follow-up, right? Because we know you can spend to generate, but you still have to follow up, which you got to spend more. You then have to convert, which means you got to spend more, even if that's just time. And then you got to spend more to get those referrals because you've now finally potentially earned a client. But how many people did you have to go through to earn that client? Right? Yeah. It takes time. And to think that, I got the first lead that came through today and they didn't convert today, so I'm just going to get rid of them. Whoa, this is a relationship business. And just as you brought up that, we've spoken about many times before, but you're going from group number 2, these total strangers, and you're moving into group number 1, so you build a relationship. And at some point down the road, potentially get business from them. So as we look at that, and we've talked a lot about the online and the social medias and the online today and sort of the mindset around that, maybe some must do's or must get rid ofs for 2022. What kind of tactics should everybody be using, or even what should a DMO, sort of like people's daily method of operation look like when they get up in a day to go, I want to go in and get more deals? Where are they looking? And we could even be going down the offline road, forget about the online right now.
So here's what I would say, right? And so in next level, we call them actions that matter, right? So DMOs, actions that matter, right? If you really want to have some market, I don't say marketing success, but success on social media, right? And success in just general, is you should be touching your database every single day. Block out an hour. Your database is your bank. One is, and hopefully you've invested in a CRM of some kind and a database. I don't care if it's a spreadsheet, what have you, right? Hopefully, if you know David, maybe you're using Kits, right? Whatever it happens to be, right? Invest in that and communicating and reaching out and touching that database for at least an hour a day, right? If you're not doing that, you're missing out on opportunities, right? Another thing, spend an hour in the morning to engage on social media, right? Be in groups, answer questions, engage with people that engage, go into, if you're a loan officer, engage with some agents, comment on their stuff, engage. If you're an agent, go out there and groups and offer advice, add value, just spend an hour on social media, just engaging with people, having conversations, right? Do it every single day. Your business will grow. The more people you touch, the more people. And here's the thing. Everybody's a lead. Every single person you talk to is a lead. Not everyone's a prospect, right? So and that's the mindset too. When you talk, everyone's a lead, meaning a lead is a potential to be a prospect is someone that actually has a chance to be put in your pipeline, right? So that's what you got to understand. Not everyone you meet is a prospect. Everyone you meet is a lead. And the thing is to find out whether that lead can be turned into a prospect, right? And then you have your prospect cadence and everything that you're doing there to convert them into a customer into your pipeline, right? Customer and then a client. So lead, prospect, customer, client, right? So you have that. Do that within social media, right? Spend an hour engaging, having conversations. Spend an hour in your database, having conversations, reaching out. How are things going? Haven't talked to you in a while. Just wanted to see how you're doing and stuff like that. Last time we talked, Cynthia was ready to, start fall ball. How'd that go? Right? Have these things in your days. Have conversations. And people are like, oh, well, I have, hundreds of people. How many people are meaningful in your database? How many people have you reached out to? Don't stop with the excuse. I could give you a million excuses not to do it. Right? I'll give you the one thing that matters, right? If you're in this business to be successful in legacy, this is what you do, right? I'm not here to tell you what's easy. I'm here to tell you what's effective, right? It's not about being right. It's about being effective, right? And these are the things that you should be doing. And as far as like the tactic or strategy and then I talked about this agents, I said, hey, if I'm going to leave you with one thing only, start focusing on YouTube. Right? Forget TikTok, forget Facebook, forget LinkedIn and Instagram about leads, blah, 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 blah. If you really do want to create a big business, do YouTube. One is nobody else is doing it. And when I say nobody else is doing it, meaning like your competition is not focusing on YouTube, which is stupid because YouTube is the only social media channel, the only one that's focused on intent, right? They go to YouTube because they want to find something, just like Google.
That's the other thing about YouTube. It's more like it's a social media, but it's also a search engine. So even when you're using the keywords, you're using like, what would somebody type in to look for something rather than just a keyword?
Yeah, they're not just scrolling. Yes, I go into. So do I go into YouTube and just scroll my feed? When it comes up, if it's popped up right in front of me, there may be something of interest that I tap it, but I do not. And maybe some people do, but I've yet to find anyone. I'm like, who just spends on their phone on YouTube, just scrolling the feed? Yeah, no, they're usually going in. And when I go to YouTube, I go to TikTok just to be brain dead, right? I go to YouTube because I'm trying to figure out, what the hell is my washer making that sound, right? Like
YouTube University.
Right. Like I'm trying to figure out like, how do I change the filter in my furnace, right? Like right. I'm trying to figure out like how to not, kill myself changing out my light socket, right? So that's why I'm going to YouTube for. And this is the thing. This is gold for real estate. What do people do when they're moving to a new town? They go to YouTube to see parks, schools, places to eat. What does downtown look like, right? Especially if they're in a different state. I know that's what I did, right? That is your gold. That is your opportunity. And guess what? This isn't new, but there's plenty of examples of people out there that have done it on YouTube and crushed it and have built their whole business. Someone that you and I both know, Karen Carr, right? Yep. And so like, and this is why at EPMX in January, that's why YouTube is going to be a huge thing that we talk about because it is so important. That is the gold right there. That, there's gold in them hills and it's YouTube, right? And YouTube is them hills. And so go out there, make content, go in there, and it doesn't have to be overly produced. It doesn't, stop with the excuses, right? Just go in and do that because this is the thing. This is a long term. This is how you create a legacy business, is doing the hard stuff up front. And then it eventually becomes a machine where you're not having to spend your daily stuff on it, right? I know the excuses. I'm so super busy. I'm like, how many deals did you do? Oh, I did 5 deals, but I'm so busy, right? Oh, really? I know people that do 20, 25 deals in a month, have kids, single mom, single dad, baseball games, all that other stuff. They managed to do it. Why? Because they put a premium of importance on it because they know it's an opportunity. It's going to allow them to do the good things in their life. And that's what you need to focus on, is like with any relationship with an agent, what is, or investment in social media and marketing or whatever, what is that going to allow me to do in my business life and my personal life because I've invested time, right? Any excuse I've heard, I have a counter to it if someone else is doing that with that limitation as well.
Dude, you just said it. It's that word time, right? And that's the thing that many people don't focus enough on in any way. And I believe it's the foundation of our success is time. When you can learn to empower time to manage you. And I've really changed the paradigm on that from manage time, because you can't manage time. It is what it is. It's going to keep ticking. But if you can empower time to manage you by scheduling what needs to get done, you will accomplish so much more in a day that you will then look back and go, oh, I really wasn't that busy. Look at me now. And that's when you hit your next level. So now looking at success, curious, how do you know it's been a successful day for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it just depends on the day. So for me, I'm a big, I did 75 hard. For those that don't know, Andy Frisella, the Real AF podcast, highly recommend that. It's not for everybody. It's not suitable for work. So I'm just letting you know that right now. Definitely opinionated dude, good dude though. I'm in his coaching group, which is called Arate. So here's the thing is that, I have a thing called the power list, right? So every morning I have a list of things that are like 5 critical tasks, things that are going to help make my life better. Doesn't always have to be business, stuff like that. Working out is one of them, eating right? Mindset, centering myself. So those 5 critical tasks. And so as long as I'm able to win the day by checking off those 5 critical tasks, then I know I've been successful, right? I had a successful day. Now I've had days where I've done the critical tasks, but a project fell out, or I screwed something up, or something didn't go the way that my strategy thought it would go. Right. Not a successful piece, but doesn't mean I overall had a successful day. Right. So it really depends on what you're doing and whatever that happens to be. If if your day is about like, hey, I'm going to have 5 conversations, 5 of those conversations going to make one appointment's, whatever that happens to be, like, that you got to decide what those success metrics are for you. It's the power list, right? So even if my day doesn't, and look, in our industry, it's not sunshine and rainbows every day, right? It's like this industry ain't for the weak, right? It's a tough, frustrating, stressful industry with a great payoff at the end if we do our jobs right? Right. And a great empowerment of others with helping them achieve the dream of home ownership when we do our jobs right? Right. And so so that could be a success. You could have a shitty day, but as long as you help someone get into a home, that's a win. That's a great day. So that's going to mean something different for us. But for me, how I know I have a successful day is if I won the day, and I don't win the day all the time, right? Nope. Some days that I don't get my 5 critical tasks in, right? But that's something I strive for, is to have that power list. And that's how I know that I have a successful day, is if I did that. And for me, it's about helping people and solving problems. As long as I do that every single day, then I'm okay. Good day, bad day, I'm okay.
You guys just heard it first here. We are batting 1,000 still, and I had no doubt that Jay was going to help us keep our record alive. There's not a single successful human being that has been on this show that has ever answered that question by saying they've made a lot of money. Money has never ever come up. Self-empowerment, self-success, self-fulfillment, like you've talked about with the power list, as well as that, again, 4-letter word of helping other people. Always comes out from the most successful people. So I want everybody to really mark that down. You want to have more success out there for yourself. You really want to win your day. Figure out how to get out there and help somebody else, period. Jay, as we taper off here, final question for you. Give us some parting words. And I mean, dude, seriously, sincerely, you've shared some wonderful stuff today. And I think there's a lot of empowerment there that if everybody really goes back and listens to the answer on every single question, you're going to find more and more nuggets to pull from it to again, everybody make themselves better. But just as we're sort of tapering off 2021, we're moving into 2022, and we look at, what are some, maybe some parting words you can give everybody to help everybody get out there and just really kind of close out the year on a high note, start the new year on a higher note, really just get out of the gate and keep pushing forward and get to that next level. What I would say is stop reading the headlines. Right? Go deeper into everything. Go deeper into your business. Go deeper into your database. Go deeper into your conversations. Go deeper into everything that you do, right? Because that is how you're going to win, right? I think, just like how we started this off. One is it's never been a better time to be in this industry. You have never had as much opportunity. Now, you've also never had as much competition. You've never had as much threats, right? As a strategy officer, I deal in things as I think about is called SWOT, right? Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? Strengths and weaknesses are internal, opportunities and threats are external, right? Do a SWOT analysis. Look that up. Go to YouTube. Search how to do a SWOT analysis for your business to see what your strengths are, and be true to yourself. I have weaknesses. I'm very, very aware of what my weaknesses are, and I write them down. It's not an easy thing to do. Do that right now. If you don't believe me, sit there and try to wipe down what your weaknesses are. It's hard to have that look in the mirror and say, damn, this is where I suck, right? These are where I'm weak, right? So what I would say, if I'm going to leave any parting words, is do a SWOT analysis, but go deeper into everything that you're going to do. Be real with yourself, because there is so much opportunity, because right? That everyone that's listening right now, I hope that 5 of you maybe will do a SWOT analysis. By this week, we'll go to YouTube, look up at what a SWOT analysis is and see how to do it for their business. Do that so that you understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, understand the opportunities that exist, and then the threats that you have to your livelihood, right? This is a tough business. There is a lot of threats out there. There is a lot of disruption. There is a lot of people that are saying that you aren't worth what you're worth, right? And so you need to stop putting your head in the sand like an ostrich and hope that you don't get swept away. Because you will get swept away. It happens in every industry at some point in time. Now is our time, right? The next decade is going to be won by the experts. Is that going to be you, right? Is that going to be you? Have this conversation as we're going down into Thanksgiving, going down into Christmas, going down into other holidays and stuff like that towards the end of the year. Like, it's just another day, right? Yeah, we put a calendar on it. Who cares? Today could be New Year's Eve. Right? Make today New Year's Day for you, right? Make tonight New Year's Eve, tomorrow New Year's Day. Who cares what the calendar says, right? Don't wait for some fictitious date that doesn't really exist except for what we've created, right? And to make the decision to change your stars, right? Make today that day. What worst case scenario is it doesn't work out and you're back to where you were obviously comfortable being before, right? So this is the time to do that SWOT analysis, to look inward at yourself, because you know just as well as I do that 80% of the competition will never do any of the stuff that Dave talks about, that I talk about. Be that 10%, be that 20% that go all in and do it. You will get business. You will be successful. You will have the life you want to live. I guarantee you. It's just putting in that work and getting over that bullshit that you tell yourself because you can't do this, can't do that. It won't work, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you it will. And to quote Margaret Mead, never underestimate that a small group of committed people can change the world, because it's the only thing that ever has. Buddy, powerful words. Jay, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
LinkedIn, Facebook, you can do it on Instagram, send me a message, whatever. I'm not active over there. LinkedIn, Facebook, my website, mortgagexpodcast.com. Shout out to, MortgageX, but all over social media, I have the mortgage, the real MortgageX mastermind, Facebook group. Connect with me wherever. Happy to always talk about this stuff. So yeah, just social media is the best place. And Jason, just Frazier is on everything.
Check him out, guys. I encourage everybody to follow him. One of my favorite thought leaders out there for sure. He's always got some influential stuff to share and just make I know I get better because of you, Jay. And again, I thank you today for joining us on the show. I know that you've just helped a lot of other people get better. And, what you just said there about, the fact that 80% of people won't do. I remember when we were at that event in Arizona, and at the end of it, I kind of said, and what kills me about all these things is that you've learned so much from all of us today is that most of you aren't going to do jack shit with it. And I remember the whole room kind of their floors hit the ground at first and they all started clapping and cheering. And we just finished off the whole event. It was wicked, but I agree with you, man. And so to everybody here, just to echo what Jay just said, don't be most people, because most people don't do jack shit. Be the one that goes out there and does what you need to do. So Jay, thank you, man. Once again, a pleasure having you on the Mindshare podcast.
Dude, thanks for having me. Always great to sit and rap for you. And, I like I said, podcast, love what you're doing. Thanks, and for those that are watching that don't know me, but know Dave, have been, listening to his podcast, whatever, Dave knows what he's talking about. Dave knows what he's talking about. I've known that since the first day I met Dave, where he made all of us look like shitty speakers publicly. And, which is a great story, by the way. But that's the thing, is that Dave knows what he's talking about. Dave, I'll tell you, Dave's also was ahead of his time when he started with Mindshare and what he was putting out there. But I'll guarantee you, if you were doing what Dave was talking about 4 years ago, you'd be in a lot better position today than others. So start doing that today.
Thank you again, Jay. You're the man, brother. Mindshare X, baby. Mindshare X. Everybody better pay attention to that one. You're either listening to this on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or Spotify. Or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're on my site, make sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle for Realtors. This is a 31-page ebook packed with a ton of tips and tricks for you. Plus, there's a ready-to-go 90-day social media content calendar to help you build more mindshare so that you can get more market share. And if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching to help you get to your next level, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve and how I will help you do just that. Also, don't forget that our Push to 100 is on, and you can have the chance to win a group coaching membership for 1 year, valued at over $500. So be sure to please go to iTunes, subscribe to the show, rate us, and leave a review. And if you haven't yet, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to once again thank Jason Frazier and the entire Equity Prime Mortgage crew for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you connect with them on Instagram at EPM Plus and keep an eye out for Mindshare X, because we have created a powerful partnership to help everyone build a whole ton of mindshare. Of course, I also want to thank Kids Keep in Touch Systems for sponsoring today's episode. If you haven't checked this out yet, just go to my site, mindshare101.com, and click on Marketing. This has been another episode of the Mindshare Podcast. Thank you for tuning in.